Literally on my way to work, I pulled over to the side of the road, opened my car door, threw up, closed my door, back on the road, went to work. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Titi. Y'all see the title of the video. Am I being dramatic? No. Kind of, but not really. Okay? To be honest, I'm not 100% happy with this entire setup. If y'all could see what I see. I tried my best. I'm trying my best, Sha. Please excuse the background. If anything looks off, it's because it is. Ignore it. It doesn't exist. I am nice and comfortable and cozy in bed. I got my blanket. I got my little iPad with my notes. I got my water. Get nice and comfortable as we chat about some very serious things. As you can see, the only thing missing is my face of makeup, and that is because we are getting into all things skin and all things skin conditions today. I will be titling this something along the lines of birth control ruined my life, because at one point in time that was the best way to describe how I felt towards birth control and all the damage it had done to my body, especially at that time, and even the ongoing side effects I've had from being on birth control and also coming off of birth control. Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty of how birth control specifically impacted my skin and my overall health, I'm gonna get into the background of how I even wound up on birth control in the first place. I was in high school at the time. I was 15 years old and I was in dance class, and I noticed on a particular part of my body there was the best way to describe it, slow down, okay. But the best way to describe it was a boil. I had a boil on my skin that came out of nowhere. I felt like I went to sleep, my skin was normal, woke up, the boil was there. It grew very rapidly in size until it TMI until it burst. Fortunately, it wasn't like a large boil. It was very, very small, so it wasn't too messy. But typically when a boil bursts, things come out of it, you know what I'm saying? It was painful, it was unusual for me, and at the time I just assumed that I wasn't effectively bathing myself. I thought I was the problem. And so again, it started when I was 15, and over time this issue persisted where it was boil after boil after boil, inflamed bump after inflamed bump, and with time it just progressively got so much worse. At this point, again, I initially thought I was just bad at cleansing myself, even though I was cleaning my body the way any teenager should be cleaning their body at the time. And so even with all my efforts and trying to make sure that I'm washing well, I'm using the right soap, etc., etc., the issue persisted. I was very embarrassed about it, and so I purposely did not share it with anyone at all, down to my own family, my own mother. Nobody knew. I was extremely self-conscious and insecure about this issue, because again, I thought I was the issue. I thought I was causing this to myself. Fast forward, I'm now in my sophomore year of college, and it had progressed so much and so severely that I remember being at work. I had an internship at the time. This is about my junior year in college, and I remember calling my mom on the phone, crying my eyes out because I was in so much pain from all these bumps and all this inflammation and all these boils that just persistently and consistently kept showing up on my skin. But I remember on this day I was in so much pain that I was like, I cannot anymore. So I called my mom at work, crying, telling her what was going on, and she immediately booked me a dermatologist appointment. And from there I started or embarked on a journey where I finally started seeking treatment for this condition, whatever it was. So my first appointment was set up. I showed up and she immediately diagnosed me with HS. If you've never heard of HS, HS is hidradenitis suppurativa. I think that's how you pronounce it. I should know. I should know, but let me confirm that I'm getting the pronunciation right. Hidradenitis suppurativa. I just call it HS for short because I struggle so much to pronounce it, but that's the name, but it's HS for short. She shared what HS was and how it was more common than I thought. She showed me shared with me the side effects, and how what was happening to my skin was simply a side effect of HS, and that I wasn't dirty, that I wasn't the issue. It was just the drawback of having this autoimmune condition. From my understanding and my experience with HS, it's an autoinflammatory condition that causes boils and just very painful inflammation and bumps to form underneath your skin. And it's almost like if you've ever had cystic acne or just large acne bumps. Imagine that times 10. Depending on the severity of your HS, because there are levels to it. HS is the pain that I have from cystic acne times 11. Like, it is painful, it's persistent, it's messy, it's just it's a lot. So cool. I'm 21 years old at this point. I've finally been diagnosed. I finally have an understanding as to why I've been having these symptoms and these bumps, persistent bumps on my body since the age of 15. Now it was time to find a treatment. So initially she attempted to prescribe me with clindamycin. For some strange reason, even now I don't understand why, but it wasn't getting approved by my insurance. Like, they just weren't approving a simple prescription of clindamycin. She also prescribed me doxycycline, which I was able to get my hands on. My insurance approved it and I started taking it for my HS to help combat it, and I immediately stopped. I immediately stopped. It made me so nauseous. I specifically remember taking it in the morning, which was my big mistake. Never take doxycycline on an empty stomach. I took it that morning. Literally on my way to work, I pulled over to the side of the road, opened my car door, threw up, closed my door, back on the road, went to work. That was a common side effect. That was a common issue that I had with doxycycline. It made me so nauseous, so sick, and I just couldn't. I just could not bear to taking that anymore. And I communicated this to her, and so we attempted the clindamycin prescription again, and for some reason I just could not get approved for clindamycin. So I had no choice but to find another specialist to help me treat this condition. And that's another thing about HS. There's no cure. All you can do is find treatments to help manage the side effects, but as far as a cure, there is no textbook cure for HS. Things not working out with my first dermatologist led me to a gynecologist. From what I recall, my mom, she was there and she understood and witnessed everything that went on with my dermatologist. So she was like, okay, let's just find you a gynecologist to see if she can help out, since that's, you know, women's health. They should be able to understand what HS was. My gynecologist knew nothing. She did not know anything about HS. I had to explain to her what it was. I had to pronounce it for her. Like, she didn't know much about it. And so I think at the time, like, I was also explaining to her like my periods and how things typically got worse around my periods, and that I have painful periods in general. And so she very quickly put me on a prescription for birth control. And at the time, I didn't question it. I didn't bat an eye about it. I wasn't concerned. I didn't even care to embark on any type of research on birth control and how it particularly helped with HS, because I just wanted relief. I was in so much pain and had been suffering for so long that I was willing to take anything to just get the relief that I needed to finally live a normal life. And so at 21 years old, I was given a prescription for birth control. The specific brand I used was called, I'm gonna insert it on the screen just to, you know, let you know to never never use that specific kind of birth control, because I have personal beef with that brand. Okay, I was on it for a total of 3 years. On birth control, I was thriving. I was living my absolute best life. Typically people gain weight with birth control. I did not gain any weight. Some people experience depression and just overall mood and emotional changes. I did not experience anything of the sorts, at least not that I know of. And everything was smooth sailing. My HS practically disappeared. I had no symptoms. I essentially went into remission. I want to say in the 3 years I was on birth control, I had maybe 3 flare-ups. Maybe 3 flare-ups. Like, my HS may as well have disappeared, you know? Putting a pin in the HS conversation, let's talk about my skin. Now, for almost 3 years, everything was fine. I had no complaints. All was well. Until things were not. So I noticed that my reproductive health was off, y'all. Something was off with the pH balance, and there was nothing I was doing with anyone to be causing these issues. So I was just very, very confused. The only thing I was taking that affected my hormone health was birth control. Just to be transparent, I was suffering from BV, like back to back to back to back BV. Again, there was nothing I was doing to cause it, so I linked it to my birth control and I stopped taking it. I stopped taking my birth control for a number of months, and lo and behold, the BV went away. It went away. I had been on birth control for all these years. I knew the importance of taking birth control and preventing these symptoms from HS. So eventually I did get back on birth control in hopes that the BV just wouldn't come back. And it came back. Of course it did. Again, back to back to back to back pH issues, BV issues. And just to be clear, I wasn't diagnosed with BV. I never saw a doctor on it, but there were signs and just symptoms that I was experiencing that I did not like, that was not normal, and that I just surmised to be BV. This lip oil by Tur, I'm not sure if my camera will even focus on it. 10 out of 10. What I was experiencing was not normal, so I decided in March of 2022 to stop taking birth control cold turkey, and that is where I made my mistake. If you are on birth control and you're looking to get off, which if you are on birth control, I highly recommend that you get off immediately or as soon as possible and opt for more. Assuming you're taking hormonal birth control, I would opt for more non-hormonal options. But if you are currently on birth control, get off as soon as you can. That's just me stating, in my humble opinion, get off as soon as you can. There's a right and there's a wrong way to do it, and the way I did it with just stopping cold turkey was the wrong way to do it. Now let's backtrack a little bit and talk about my skin and how my overall skincare or skin journey has looked since childhood till now. As a kid, normal skin, no complaints. I got into high school, hormones crazy, and so naturally I started breaking out. Eventually I got to college and my skin was the worst it had ever looked in my life. Understandably so. I wasn't drinking a lot of water. My diet was really bad. My sleep schedule was horrible. I was extremely sleep deprived. I was not taking care of myself, and so naturally it showed on my face. I did, however, start taking care of my health better ish. I didn't really do much but start increasing my water intake. So I think I went from drinking next to no water every single day to now drinking a gallon of water every day, and that alone cleared up about 60% of my acne. So if you're not drinking enough water, just drink up, okay? Drink up. From there, I was able to clear up my acne with 2 ingredients: salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide, specifically the Equate Walmart brand of salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide. I'm going to include a picture somewhere on the screen. I was a college student. I couldn't afford the actual, I think it was Bior and like Panoxyl were the actual brands. Oh, not Bior, Clean and Clear, and I was also using a off-brand Bior charcoal face wash at the time, and child, everything was off-brand, okay, and I made it work. So I remember just, you know, scraping up the pennies that I had to buy these ingredients, and those 2 products, especially salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide, changed the game for me. Like, it cleared up my skin so incredibly well. All those bumps, all that stubborn acne that I had, even the dark spots that I had, everything went away and my skin was nice and clear. Eventually, out of the blue, it just stopped working for me. To this day, I can't explain why, but it went from being very effective for me to not working at all. At the time, Curology was blowing up, and there was this ongoing joke that if you saw one Curology commercial, you would see another and then another. Curology did their big one advertising wise, because I could not escape Curology commercials, so much so that I finally attempted or tried it was like a free, get your first bottle free. All you have to do was pay for shipping. And so I signed up for it. I spoke to the online nurse practitioners. They gave me a prescription. I got it. I tried it for about 5 weeks and my skin cleared up. All the acne was gone. Kept my skin clear, and I continued to purchase and stay on Curology for the entire duration or the entire time that I was in college. Even post being on birth control, I was still using Curology here and there. So shouts to Curology, it actually works. Now, this is all prior to birth control. So before using birth control, my skin was already clear. I had no idea that doctors at the time were already prescribing birth control for skin related issues. So again, skin was already clear. I'm now on birth control. I assumed that my skin remained clear all those years because of my skincare routine, because of my Curology, because of the products I was using. I had no idea that it was linked to the hormone suppression from being on birth control. All those years I had no idea, which is very ignorant on my behalf. I should have done research on a drug that I was using every single day, but I didn't. And here we are now. Now at this point, it's about June, July of 2022. I had been on birth control for a few months now, and So far so good. And keep in mind, even after getting off birth control, I still did not understand the link to birth control and having clear skin because my skin hadn't started breaking out yet. Okay, and with all that being said, let's get into the side effects that I've experienced since getting off birth control. Now, the first drastic, shocking, very unpleasant side effect that I faced after getting off birth control was my hair. My hair started falling out in clumps, as in like every single time I dare so just let the wind blow past my hair, y'all, it was coming out. My hair was coming out in clumps and I did not understand why. And the only thing I had stopped doing was taking birth control, so I was immediately able to tie it to the fact that my hormones are a little bit out of whack right now, but soon enough things will balance and level out and my hair will be fine. And it was actually the Holy Spirit that helped me combat the hair loss. He told me to start taking prenatals, so I started taking prenatals, and within about a month or so the hair, it stopped. Like, my hair stopped falling out. It wasn't coming out nearly as much as it was when I first got off birth control. So ever since then I haven't really had any issues. I am still recovering from all the hair loss. Y'all can see how thin the ponytail is, child. But yeah, that was very scary, very drastic, very unexpected. My hair had come such a long way, and so to lose that much density in such a short amount of time it took a toll. Okay, it took a toll. I want to say at this point we're in June, July. My hair is doing a lot better, but I got a bump. There was this one bump like in this corner of my face underneath my eye. First pimple I had gotten in a while. I didn't think too much of it. I just made sure to use my Curology, use my product, you know, just do my best to help treat the acne. And so that one bump turned into two. But eventually that first bump went away. So now it was just a second bump and the scar from the first bump. So I was like, you know what, this still isn't anything too crazy. Let me just make sure I'm just keeping up with my skincare routine. You know, maybe it's my diet, or just maybe I'm stressed. I remember around the time I got into a car accident, and I was super stressed out at the time. And it was around that time that I noticed the drastic change in my skin. I want to say around August, I started getting pimples on my forehead. And y'all, it went from one bump to two to my forehead now exploding. Literally just, it covered my forehead. Every other part of my face was relatively clear. It was just my forehead that was now breaking out. At this point, I'm still not thinking too much of it, because again, around this time I was stressed. I had my car accident. It was just a lot going on. I'm thinking within a week or two this will go away. Around the time on TikTok, this sulfur, like 10% sulfur, this one specific like face mask was trending. So I went ahead and bought that off of Amazon, using it every single day, abusing it every single day, thinking that it would just help get rid of my acne. None of it worked. Nothing worked at the time. Going super aggressive with my Curology and all my product, buying a whole bunch of new skincare at the time, trying to treat my acne, pimple patches. Nothing was working at the time. And then it went from a bunch of forehead acne to one pimple on my cheek, and then another, and then eventually my face was covered. I had, for the first time in so much years, so much acne, but that was also the first time in my life that I had acne that severe. Even in my college days and my preteen days and my teenager years, my acne was never ever that severe. I'm gonna insert like just a few pictures of what your girl was looking like, y'all. And at the time I was taking progress pictures. Eventually I stopped because the progress was not progressing. It was not progressing at all though. But yeah, this is what my skin was looking like, and it just progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse. I'm also going to insert pictures of what my skin used to look like. Y'all, I can confidently say now that a part of my identity was rooted in my appearance. At the time, or in the past, I literally, not even 2 years ago, my skin was flawless. I had such clear skin. I was constantly getting compliments on my skin. At the time, I didn't think it was a big deal, because I'm just like, this is just regular skin. Like, I don't do much to get my skin like this. But looking back, oh my, I should have cherished those. I should have cherished those days a lot better than I did. I went from my skin looking like this to looking like this. Huge difference. So you can imagine what I was going through mentally. Like, I just had clear skin. As in, I just had clear skin. And now I look like this. It wasn't even regular acne. It was cystic acne. It was closed comedones. It was fungal acne. But the worst of it all was the cystic acne. The cystic acne was aggressive. It was painful. And it was persistent. It was extremely persistent. It was almost like every single day I was waking up with a brand new cystic bump on my face for the world to see. I'm a believer, so I was praying about it, I was journaling about it, I was really trusting God for a speedy breakthrough. At this point, the research was done. I understood that birth control was the reason for all of this. Me stripping my body away from those synthetic hormones forced my body to like just essentially freak out. My body freaked out because now it was all of a sudden forced to produce its own hormones, which it hadn't done for 3 years straight. So naturally, yeah, my hair is gonna fall out. Another thing was weight gain. I gained about 20 pounds. I gained so much weight so rapidly, and it's almost like all the weight gain that people experience on birth control, I experienced coming off of birth control. First it was hair loss, then it was rapid weight gain, and then the acne. At this point I was taking so many progress pictures in hopes that I could wake up one day and my skin be clear and I can just, you know, just testify of the journey and the day by day progress. Lord, I was very optimistic in the fact that my skin would clear up, and this is from the research that I read. I think I read that within 6 months, within really 3 to 8 months, that my hormones would balance itself out and my skin would clear up. And so I'm taking these progress pictures in hopes that within that, you know, 3 to 6 month period, my skin would drastically improve. Y'all, 1 month went by, 2 months went by, 4 months went by, 7 months went by. Okay, it's only when you film that the whole world now wants to call you. 5 months, 7 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year. We're now a year and 7 months, you guys, into this whole fiasco. And as you can see by my face, I'm gonna insert pictures of what I look like now. I'm still working out. The cystic acne is still here. I will say it's not as nearly as severe as it was when the workouts really got intense. I'm pushing 2 years into this, and the issue persists. That 3 months, 6 months, 8 months your skin will be clear was not, that was not my experience. Naturally, I sought out help, so I found a nurse practitioner in my area, a dermatology nurse practitioner. I believe that's the correct name. Y'all, pray. Let's please pray for the health system, because the way she, sweet woman, shouts to her, but the way she immediately attempted to put me on Spironolactone was actually wild. I want to say she had spoken to me for all of 5 minutes before she was like, so have you heard of Spironolactone? Yes. I had done so much research at the time. I understood what doxycycline did. I understood what Accutane, isotretinoin did, Spironolactone. I knew it all. And with the damage that birth control had done to my body, there was just no way that I was willing to put myself on any other medication for the sake of clear skin. No, it just, no. I want to say this was maybe September, October. So I stopped birth control in March. Now it's pushing or nearing the very end of the year. Prior to this, I had spent crazy money. Crazy money on all kinds of acne fighting ingredients. Just so much money was spent on all kinds of treatments around this time, which was so, oh Lord God, the stress. I got a brand deal. For those of you who don't know, I'm a content creator, I'm an influencer. Companies pay me to promote their products, and at the time I got the biggest, to this day, the biggest brand deal opportunity of my life. I got a partnership with Olay, who contracted me to promote their vitamin C and one of their retinol creams. The company reached out to me, yes, because they liked my content, but they also saw the state of my skin. And so, you know, most companies want people with clear skin promoting their products. And that isn't to say that you cannot test out the effectiveness of a product, because I genuinely enjoyed both products. But I was just so scared about the fact that they initially reached out to me when my skin was clear, and within a matter of months my skin had completely transformed and I had just the most severe cystic acne. At the time only on one side of my face, but eventually the other side caught up. And so I remember like just being super aggressive with my skincare routines and just mixing all kinds of harsh products that should not be going together, and my skin was just freaking out even more. I remember it being so dry, my skin was peeling, like I could literally peel layers of dead skin and just dried up skin off my face, because I was just abusing the products within my skincare routine to try to clear it up as much as possible to please these brands, which saying that out loud is actually insane, but that's just where I was at the time. I was very desperate and just saddened at the state of my skin. After spending so much money, I was like, you know, enough is enough. Let me seek out professional help. And even prior to seeking out a dermatologist, I sought out a primary physician because at the time I didn't have one, and I just wanted the opinion of a Black primary physician on my skin before I sought out more specialized assistance. Y'all, she got the same skin issues I did. She also shared that she was on and off of birth control, and that whenever she gets off birth control, her skin breaks out. And she suggested that I get back on birth control, back onto the same medication that did this to my body in the first place, which it was a no-go. That was not happening. So unfortunately, as sweet as she was not of much help. And so I found my way to a dermatologist. And so at this time, I already knew exactly what I wanted from her. Tretinoin, azelaic acid, of course, clindamycin, hydroquinone, all these, you know, products that the skincare community typically raves about. I was asking my dermatologist to prescribe for me. But yeah, I had this all new routine with all these high, strong prescription products. And I was just, again, had it in me that my skin was going to clear up within a matter of months. And the reason I tell us all to pray for these doctors and the healthcare system, my dermatologist did not tell me anything when it came to how to properly introduce these products into my skincare routine. I went from not using tretinoin at all to now using it 5-6 times a week, which is insane. Please, if you get your hands on tretinoin, take your time with this. Start off with once a week, and then twice a week, and then 3 times a week. And when I say once a week, I mean once a week for a couple of weeks, twice a week for a couple of weeks, 3 times a week for several weeks, and then slowly graduate from there. I went full into using tretinoin consistently, and the purging was absolutely insane. The dryness and the peeling was insane. And if you thought I was insecure before that, now I refuse to show my face in public without makeup. I remember for months and months and months on end, no one saw what my face looked like without a full face of makeup. No one knows the agony that acne has on your mental health until you have acne. Not just any kind of acne, cystic acne. So at this point, my skin is getting so much worse. Eventually, the purging started to calm down, and I started seeing the benefits of using tretinoin, but it didn't prevent the acne. It was helping to treat the acne that I already had on my face, but it wasn't doing anything to prevent the acne. Also around this time, you can imagine, I had changed my diet, so I had cut out dairy, cutting out processed sugar, just all the things that typically trigger acne. I was no longer intaking. Nothing worked. I was taking all kinds of vitamins, saw palmetto, I was drinking spearmint tea, I started taking spearmint capsules, DIM, zinc, I think it's called pantothenic acid. I butchered these names so bad. I was doing anything and everything that I could do health wise and topically, you know, with my skincare routine to help treat my acne, and nothing was working. Nothing at all. Again, I stopped taking progress pictures around this time because all hope was lost. All hope was lost. And I remember pleading with God, like, God, I beg, like, just clear my skin, like. But again, no one understands the mental anguish that comes from having acne until you have it. And not just regular acne, I'm talking cystic acne, y'all. Like, my acne was not regular acne, it was cystic. There is a difference, and it was just painful. It was large. It would show up on like the craziest parts of my face. Creatine, so random. Creatine was something that I eventually went on to find out was triggering my acne horrendously. Things were subtly helping, but at the end of the day, nothing was ultimately or completely or entirely stopping my acne from showing up on my skin. And so around this time, I sought out another dermatologist. Mind you, the HS is still here, and at this point, I'm getting flare-ups all over again. I'm in pain all over again. So I sought out another dermatologist to help treat the HS and also my very aggressive acne. I got there, and remember how I said that I would never be on any prescription again? Again, months had passed since, about a year. Yeah. About a year had passed since I saw my first dermatologist. If not a year, then about 8 months had passed. I just let her know that, yeah, I'm on tretinoin, I'm doing all these things. She was like, tretinoin don't take that long to work, babe. Your skin is not clearing up with what you're doing now. So you need something, you need another fix. And she sold Spironolactone to me so immaculately. She is working hard for every single last one of those checks because she sold Spironolactone to me better than my previous dermatology did and better than social media had sold it to me. So I caved in and I accepted a prescription of 100 milligrams of Spironolactone. So I was on Spironolactone for all of a week and like 3 days I went into maximum overdrive with all the research I was doing on Spironolactone, and I was just seeing so many videos of side effects that were like freaking me out. And one that stood out to me was, or a couple that stood out to me was, you pee a lot more when you're on Spironolactone. Chest pain is something that people experience, and just shortness of breath in general. And also when you're on Spironolactone, it's very normal to experience irregular periods. That is not okay. And the fact that dermatologists just say that or just skate by that like it's normal, like it's healthy to be experiencing irregular periods, made me very, very uncomfortable. Mind you, that's not something that my dermatologist shared with me. It's something that I found out on my own, that people experience irregular periods on Spironolactone. Mind you, irregular periods can look like a period once in a while or multiple periods in a month. I've never been diagnosed with endometriosis, but I have some level. I feel like I have some level of it because my period and the pain that I have and the heaviness of my bleeding, it is not something that I would wish on everyone, and especially not myself twice a month. That would be brutal. It's already brutal having one. I can only fathom having 2 painful, heavy periods. And so I kind of just brushed everything off and just said that by the grace of God, this will not be my portion. It wasn't until I worked out for the first time after being on Spironolactone for about 3 days. A symptom that I didn't hear anyone talk about was tightness of chest and shortness of breath. I am a recovering asthma kid. I used to have asthma horribly as a child. I had to be hooked up to a breathing machine every single day, and over time it did get better, but I've always had shortness of breath ever since. Like, I am so easily winded and I hate cardio as a result. Walking, let alone running or jogging, takes everything out of me. Absolutely everything out of me, and breathing becomes such a struggle. And at this point in the gym, I was like working on my cardiovascular health, and I was just, you know, being more consistent with being on the Stairmaster and just doing cardio in general. Again, cardio is not easy for me. I'm already like winded, I'm already like, you know, borderline in pain doing these cardio workouts. So being on Spironolactone made it so much worse. 10 minutes could have passed since I last finished my cardio workout and I'm still feeling a tightness in my chest. Like I'm still feeling like I can't breathe properly. That to me was terrifying, and I knew that as someone who is consistently in the gym, that I could not deal with a side effect like that long term. Another thing is that the first time I took it, I had this very uncomfortable tightness in my chest. Mind you, I was at home, it was nighttime, I was relaxing, I wasn't doing anything, you know, that was had me moving or had my heart rate like increasing. I just remember having such an uncomfortable tightness in my chest. I did end up reading that it goes away with time, but y'all, that freaked me out enough to just stop using it after not even 2 weeks. So that was my experience on Spironolactone, and ever since that I just vowed to figure out what was going on with my skin and treat my skin without the aid of medication. I just cannot stand the side effects and the things that come with being on things such as Spironolactone or even antibiotics such as doxycycline and isotretinoin. I'd much rather I'll take the acne. I will take the acne as opposed to the side effects that come with being on those drugs. So that's that. Ever since then, I've just continued to embark on just a journey of healing my skin naturally, being intentional and mindful of my dietary health, my physical health, as well as my skincare regimen and routine. That is my entire skincare journey in summary. I did skip details here and there, but for the most part, that's to the gist of what happened to my skin and why this is the current state of what I look like. But I'm still trusting God. I'm just figuring out things that work for me, you know, diet wise and skincare wise, and just really trusting God for breakthrough. I'm very hopeful and very expectant for what God has in store for me. I know He didn't allow this for no reason. Something good will come from this, and I'm excited. So, and just to give you all a closer look as to the state of my skin today, I'm gonna zoom you guys in. Okay, it's so close. I'm not sure how much the camera is picking up, but as you can see, Your girl still got acne. Your girl still has dark spots. I'm actually having an active breakout right here. I'm not sure if y'all can tell, but yeah. This is like, this side, oh, it's been my most problematic side since the beginning. They do flip like on and off as to like, you know, one side is more problematic than the other. It just depends, child. It depends on the season. But my forehead and the state of that, my forehead's come a long, it's come a long way. Yeah, this is what my skin looks like. I was very intentional to film this without makeup. I'm going to be very intentional about filming without makeup in the future because it has taken me a long time, a long time to get to the point where I can finally confidently, unapologetically show what I look like without any drop of makeup. Whether I like it or not, this is what I look like, and it's about time that I get used to it and just learn to love myself and my skin at the state that it currently is at. This season of my life has been the most I've not worn makeup out and about. I've worn less makeup now than I did when my skin was completely clear, which is very crazy. It just goes to show the work that God has done in my life and just improving and boosting my self-confidence and just, you know, reminding me that I am his child, beautifully created, and that I am beautiful no matter what speck of acne or dark spots exist on my face. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. But I also want to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your recommendations, your own skincare journey. And I would especially love to know if any of you all can relate. If there's any doctors, you know, watching this video, please leave your comments, your expertise, your advice, your opinions, everything on your mind down below. And I cannot wait to get back to you all. And until next time, bye guys. Oh my god, do y'all see that in the background?